that I'm his sister. Yeah, his sister. My husband and I have been married for 3 years, no kids, a dog. I mean, life is good for us. Or so I thought life was good for us. For the past 2 years, my husband's been working at this accounting firm that he absolutely loves. He's pretty good friends with his coworkers, and sometimes after work they'll get drinks or dinner, but I've never gone. Now, people might think this is kind of weird, but it's not. I've never asked to go. I have my own friends, my own life. I like my husband to have his life and be able to do his things, and I like us to have our own independence in our marriage. Looking back now, yeah, it's weird that he never invited me, not a single time. I've met all my husband's other friends that are not work friends, and he's met all of my friends, but yeah, he never invited me to any of his work friend hangouts. I didn't realize it at the time, but this whole secret started to reveal itself over a year ago. I was out celebrating a friend's birthday without my husband, let's call him Josh, when a guy that I had never met comes up to me at the bar and is like, "Hey, it's Kels, right?" I cannot hide a single expression on my face, so the man knew I was confused because I was literally staring at him like... And that's when he was like, "Oh, I work with Josh." And that made sense. I was like, oh, actually, now that I'm like squinting my eyes and looking at him a little closer, I feel like my husband had shown me a photo of this guy before. We had a little bit of awkward small talk. I mean, I was trying to be nice. Obviously, I wanted to make a good impression. It's my husband's coworker, but also I was celebrating my friend's birthday and I wanted to go hang out with the girls. So near the end of the conversation, when it was clear that, the conversation was ending, the guy goes, "I think it's really nice how close you and Josh are. I wish my brother lived near me and we were so close." And I mean, knowing what I know now, I wish it would have set off way more alarm bells, but I was like, the guy's been drinking, he does not know what he's talking about, and like, it's just not that big of a deal. Whatever, maybe he just has been thinking about his brother today, really wanted to talk about him with somebody. I don't know. None of my business. I guess it is my business. It was my business. I just didn't think it was. I never told Josh about this conversation. Not because I was trying to hide it, but because, honestly, I forgot about it. I mean, it was a 3-minute conversation in my whole night, and when I got home from the bar, Josh was already asleep, so by the time we were talking in the morning, like, it's past. The thought is past. I never really thought about it again. But here's where everything really started clicking for me. Yesterday morning, I was taking our dog Monty out for a walk. Now, Monty's a pretty unique looking dog, so, I mean, you can tell it's him. If you've met the dog before, you know who he is. As we're walking past a coffee shop, this guy walks out and immediately lights up when he sees the dog. And immediately is like, "Monty, it's so good to see you." And Monty is so excited. And immediately I'm like, oh, this must be one of Josh's coworkers, because Josh actually brings Monty to the office a few times a week. So I was like, oh, this makes sense. This is how you would recognize my dog, and my dog clearly knows who you are. Then he turns to me and he's like, "You must be Kels. I've heard so much about you." And I am like, "Oh, do you work with Josh?" And I was right. He was like, "Yeah, I do." And so we have a little bit of small talk, and, he's petting the dog. All's going well. But that's when he's like, "You are an incredible sister walking Josh's dog for him." My first thought was to tell this man that I'm not Josh's sister. I am his wife, his incredible, loving wife. But I was like, this man seems nice. I don't really need to put him in that uncomfortable position right now. And honestly, I didn't even really know how to react. So I'm just basically staying there like, what do you say back to that? I had like a million thoughts racing in my head. And this guy looks at me so confused because he's like, what is up with this girl? Like, why is she just staring at me like that? All I managed to blurt out is, yeah, he's a really good dog, before I'm like, we have to get going, and just like skirt it off. Because what am I supposed to say in that moment? I tell Monty, "I'm sorry, bud, but this walk is getting cut short because I need to go contemplate my entire marriage." And the perfect time to contemplate your entire life is a walk home, so that is what I did. On this walk, a lot of things started clicking for me. Like, one is that Josh always told me that his company didn't allow +1s for holiday parties. Why did I even believe this? Every company allows +1s for holiday parties. He just was hiding me. Luckily, Josh is on a work trip for the next few days, so I can think about how I want to handle this situation, because I'm floored. Do I make the mature and rational decision and talk to him about this when he gets home? Or do I make a little surprise trip to his office? Because I'm kind of leaning towards the latter.
This is wild. Imagine finding out your spouse has been referring to you as his sister to his coworkers. What could even be the reasoning behind that? The amount of mental gymnastics you'd need just to process it. This isn't just one lie, it's a whole web. There's the holiday party, the no +1s, the friend who thought they were siblings. Honestly, I don't blame her for wanting to show up at his office. I'd be tempted to blow the whole thing wide open right then and there.